What's going on, team? It's Ricky with Tech Solutions. Hope that you guys are all having an amazing day. If this is your guys' first time tuning on into one of our Sunday Stock Talks, welcome. We host one of these every single Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So I am based here in Arizona. But I'm going to give it a couple of seconds for everyone to start tuning on in. I'm going to say what's up to the people that are tuning in live. And again, if you ever want to tune on in to one of these live Sunday Stock Talks, just make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notification so you get alerted when it is that we go live, just making it that much easier for yourself. So friendly reminder, so today, if I'm not mistaken, it is the 24th of May. And on the 25th, there's actually, it's an observance to Memorial Day. The stock market will not be open. So just a little heads up. Thank you for all those that have served, and I appreciate your guys' service. But taking that into consideration, I still thought that it would have been a good idea. I just don't think it's the best idea to go live on Monday. In response to that, I'm just going to keep it here for our Sunday Stock Talk. So what's going on, Billy the Kid? What's up? So for everyone that's tuning on in, I wanted to ask you guys if this is your first time. We got Ryan. What's going on, Pablo? We got Greg in the house. So is that Magin? What's up? Josh, Gilbert, Angel, Tom, Ron. Oh, here we go. We got Christopher, Gregory, Victor, Mitchell, Joe, Chris. Here we go. Oh, man. All righty. We got Justin. I'm trying to read some of the names, but they passed by too quick. We got, what is that? Malik, Nicholas, Ryan, Zach, another Chris. All right, sweet. Well, I really do appreciate you guys taking time out of your Sunday. I won't take too much of your guys' time. So all we ask you is if you learned something new throughout this Sunday Stock Talk, I hope that you can I hope that we can earn your thumbs up, and we'll leave it at that. If you guys would like to stay connected, even after this Sunday Stock Talk, we do run a free Facebook group, or the largest one in the world for those who day trade in the stock market, and that's going to be that first link down below. Just a little heads up on that. So first link down below, this will send you on over to our free Facebook group where you can join 274,000 members, and we do offer a free Discord chat, which is provided for you on the top pinned post. So excited to see what you guys all have to say. Every stock that we break down today will be posted right here, and we're going to go through about 10 stocks. Again, the goal for our Sunday Stock Talk is never to tell you or encourage you to trade anything. We're just simply sharing opinions, right, about what we see value in and what we don't. And if you see value in any of the stocks that we talk about, add them to your watch list, set your alerts, and follow up with them when they make sense. You don't have to trade any of these, and that's the amazing part about the stock market, is that you are the final decision maker on where you choose to put your money. So let's go ahead and get started. All I ask you is to make sure, just like you see, I think it's Jasil, right? Posted it in the ticker call out format. And I think we have Ismail tuning on in as well, which I need to pin his. I saw him post it very quickly, the ticker call out format. So Ismail, if you're there, if you can post it one more time just so I can pin it so everyone can have access to that. So let's go ahead. And if you guys are having, streaming issues, just refresh the screen and you should be able to see everything up and running now that we're fully live. So what platform do you use? I use the TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform. It's one of many options that you have available. Please don't just use it because I use it. It doesn't mean that it's the best. It has a lot of issues just like any other software. So just take that into consideration. I'm never here to try to convince you that what I use is the best. So ZTO. Let's go ahead and break that one down. So ticker symbol ZTO. Here we go. I like that. Well, that kind of rhymed. But overall, ZTO on the 180-day chart, you guys can see that the overall SMA line has been indicating signs of an overall uptrend. So we're on the 180-day 4-hour time frame. What if you were to say, if you were to describe ZTO in one thing, what would it be? It's very consistent even throughout this entire pandemic. It's been consistently showing signs of an uptrend. It did make 180-day highs. It hit highs of nearly $36. It is now pulling back. Again, one of the things that we love to remind our traders is that just because something is selling off doesn't mean that it has to find a support. It can continue to sell off. Obviously, there's a very consistent pattern that we have going on here where normally around this SMA line, it doesn't always have to. Patterns tend to repeat themselves, they don't have to. But as it's pulling back, I do agree, looking at the MACD, looking at the RSI, and looking at previous patterns, it does look more on the oversold side, and it is very bullish based off of the past 180 days. So all I'm saying now is it's great that it's pulled back. Now we just want to make sure that we enter, if you see value in it, when it's actually indicating signs of an uptrend instead of trying to buy the dip and something continuously still selling off. So I'm going to set my alert for the potential break below $30. And on top of that, I'm actually going to set my alert if it actually breaks below the SMA line, as it 100% can't, right? Our goal is never to try to find the bottom of every single stock and try to buy the dip, but it's just to make sure that we enter a trade when the overall direction is in our favor. So what I'm also going to do is it would make sense to put our money into something when it's indicating signs of an uptrend. So I set my alert for the break above the EMA line, and then I'm going to set another alert. So a total of 4 alerts. I can follow up with them when it is that it makes sense. If you see value in ZTO, add it to your watch list, set your own alerts, and follow up with it when it makes sense to you. At the end of the day, you don't have to trade anything it is that you do not see valid. So what's going on 1-7? You're a F&B. So what's going on, man? All right. Well, I appreciate you tuning on in. Thank you. Here we go. So we got ticker symbol BABA. So here we go. Really aggressive drop, hit overall highs of 220. So again, I like that you guys are paying attention to something that was showing signs of an uptrend, although it did hit a resistance and it aggressively pulled back. It looks like that has to do to overall earnings. Very similar to almost the performance of Amazon where, okay, so it did pull back right during earnings. If I'm not mistaken, I wouldn't really even call this an overall break of pattern. It's still showing signs of an ascending support if it doesn't continue to sell off. Just know that, again, earnings is very fresh as earnings were released. Let me go ahead and just confirm earning was released on 5/22. So just take that into consideration that things can continue to sell off before they get better. I do agree, looking at the MACD, looking at the RSI, it is oversold, and looking at previous lows, it does make sense on why this could be a potential support. But again, we're not here to predict overall bottoms. We're here to enter when it makes sense to us. So I'm going to set my alert here. I'm also going to follow up with it if it actually begins to indicate signs of an uptrend. So based off of current lows and previous highs, I want to see what the upside potential is. Okay, 10% based off of previous highs, but we also want to take into consideration, like, where would we cut losses, right? Would it be when it breaks below 190? Would it be if it makes new lows? Would it be at overall 180-day lows? Definitely something that you need to take into consideration. Again, trading in the stock market is not like a 9-to-5 job. It doesn't mean that just because you invest hours out of your day for weeks or months at a time that you have to make money. In the stock market, you can lose money. So just like you can play the offense in trying to make money, you need to make sure that you have a good defense and being able to control how much money you get back. So actually, I like that ticker BABA. And we should definitely follow up with it when it begins to make more sense and indication of a potential reversal. So what's going on, Jonathan? I appreciate you posting this in the ticker call out format. So SP, I want to see if it is easier for me to type it in like this. So let's see. There we go. Much easier. So one of the things that we need to take into consideration is, as of right now, this thing is making lower lows and lower highs. This was something that was very bullish when the overall market was selling off, right? When the S&P 500 was selling off, this does the exact opposite, right? Now, the one that a lot of people are paying attention to is ticker symbol SPY. So the easiest way for me to put this is because both SPXS and SPY are either ETFs that follow the S&P, right? So /ES is something that I would encourage you to look a little bit more into. This is the overall future /ES or E-mini, right? For the S&P 500. One of the things that you have to take into consideration is I'm no one to try to predict an overall reversal or trade against an overall, direction. Right now, SPXS is bearish. It's making lower lows. It's making lower highs. It's much more difficult to make money in something that's aggressively and consistently selling off. So although I do agree that the market has regained quite a bit, right, of ground from its overall lows, but I think it would be very closed-minded of you to try to trade against the overall market when the overall market direction is still so bullish. Of course, if we get indication of a pullback, if it begins to sell off again, then we can revisit SPXS. But until then, I just don't see any indication of a potential reversal or the market pulling back, as even looking at /NQ. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but this is the overall NASDAQ future, and we're literally just down 2% based off of 180-day highs on where the /NQ or NASDAQ was right before this overall pandemic and the current trade price. We are 3%. So 3.5% away from overall 180-day highs. It's done an amazing job of recovering from this unfortunate pandemic. But it doesn't mean that it has to hold up here. All I'm saying is that it is bullish, and it would be very closed-minded to try to trade against the overall direction when there is no indication of a reversal. So I just want to make sure that, although I do agree that, hey, the market is a little bit more on the overbought side, it is very bullish, even though the overall news isn't the best. I'm just no one to try to encourage anyone to trade against an overall direction. I hope that you can respect that, but again, I'm not here to try to convince you to not trade SPXS. Trade whatever it is that you see valid. I was here to share my opinion, right? So Yassine is asking for SQQQ. It's going to be a very similar breakdown for those that are familiar, right? Especially if you're part of Learn Plan Profit. I've broken this down so many times before. This is the inverse ETF for NASDAQ. So when the NASDAQ goes down, this goes up. So you can see why during the overall pandemic, this was bullish. So this is going to be the almost exact breakdown as SPXS. No indication of an overall reversal. And yes, although we are meeting 180-day highs, there is no indication of a reversal just yet. I'm not saying that there can't be in the near future. All I'm saying is that why would I trade against an overall direction when we have no proper confirmation? So here we go. Brian, thank you again. I appreciate you being patient. So you got L, M, and X. So let me go ahead and I break that down for you guys. And again, I really hope, one of the things that I did ask you throughout the beginning of the video is if it's okay with you guys, and if you guys enjoy these and you learned something new, I really hope that we earn your thumbs up throughout this Sunday Stock Talk. It really helps out the channel. So one of the things that I do want to break down is I really like that you're focusing on something that is very bullish on the 180-day chart. Like I've said so many times before, I know I sound like a broken record, but we always have a lot of beginners that just subscribe to the channel. It is much easier to make money when the overall direction is in your favor. And you could experience this firsthand. And for anyone that has experienced this, feel free to share your own experience in the comment section or in the live chat. I'm not saying that you cannot make money trading patterns like SQs. Of course you can. You can make money trading anything. That's not the point. The idea that I'm here to remind you is like, when something is bullish and when the overall direction is in your favor, you're just, again, because of that direction being bullish, it's just so important to do your part, especially when you're just getting started, to kind of keep things simple. And I think that by focusing on overall patterns like this, it doesn't make your success rate 100%, but it just gives you an overall better opportunity to potentially stay in the green as it's been consistently increasing in price. And I think that's all something we can appreciate and respect. One of the things that I do want to show you is ever since it hit highs of 40, every time that it tries to consolidate and then it tries to push up, it gets rejected by the EMA line. It's consolidating, and yes, we are approaching on this SMA line, but it doesn't mean that it has to continue to push. Again, patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't always have to. I'm going to set my alert, wait for proper indication of higher highs and higher lows. And if we begin to do almost the exact opposite of what it's doing, as in it begins to trade above the EMA line and make higher highs, then we can follow up with it and see if this is something that we potentially want to put our money into. But I really do like that, you are focusing on something that is so consistently bullish, with the overall idea that right now it is pulling back. I do agree. It does look like it's potentially going to make a reversal soon. We just don't have that confirmation yet, and this is why I set my alert for the break below the SMA line, as that is possible. We just want to make sure that we understand both sides, the potential for profit just as well as the potential for taking a loss, right? Having an open mind and understanding that we're not invincible. Here we go. So Dominic, this is DOYU. Alrighty, so a lot of consolidation. I used to really like to trade these kind of patterns. I'm not the biggest fan anymore. First off, it has an up-and-coming earnings report, if I'm not mistaken. This is going to be on the 26th, which is going to be on Tuesday. So huge heads up on that. That has can either be a positive or negative catalyst. So I personally would not trade this until after this, and even a couple days after, the volatility can still be a little bit crazy. Right now, based off of previous lows, it does normally tend to find a support at around $7, and overall highs right around $7.50 to $8. I personally don't like to trade stocks that trade below $10. It's just preference. I find there to be like a lot of volatility that I personally would rather avoid. So I'm going to set my alerts here. Again, patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't always have to. I would wait for indication of higher highs or some indication of an overall reversal. But again, it has earnings, which I think is just going to be a very hectic time to try to follow up with it, because volume will most likely, or demand will most likely make it a little bit more volatile. So here we go. So we got Joseph with SBUX. So that is Starbucks, if I'm not mistaken. So SBUX. A lot of consolidation overall, big dip, hit lows of overall $50. A lot of consolidation, the same resistance, very similar pattern to almost the S&P 500, right? Where it continues to consolidate. It's not really making higher highs. The easiest way that I can put, kind of make an example of this is if you were to put your money in this based off of how it's been trading, you're not really missing out on anything because it hasn't made new highs from highs of $80, and it's also not really making new lows. And it really just depends on your intention. I'm not here to try to convince you that this is not the best trade, as anything can happen. It could randomly begin to resume being bullish, right? Or it can begin to pull back. All I'm saying is during consolidation, when direction is unclear, you don't know. You don't know if it's going to continue to push up or if it's been bullish enough that now it's going to correct itself and pull right back down. So when direction is unclear, one of the things that we like to make a joke about, but hopefully it just sticks with you, is when you're in doubt of overall direction, it's best to just pull out, right? And we can set overall alerts here at highs of $80. And we can set an alert at overall lows of $75 and follow up with it again once direction is a little bit more clear, and we can go from there, right? So we got next ticker is TLRD. So here we go, TLRD. We're kind of going through these pretty quick, so I like that. I like the overall momentum that we have. So TLRD, very consistent descending pattern. Looks like it had a pretty green day on Friday, which I'm guessing this is why you're bringing it up. Overall, like I've said, it's not impossible to make money off of descending patterns. All I'm saying is, can you do it consistently? It's great to see that something pushed up, but overall, it's bearish. It makes lower lows and lower highs. Every time that it approaches the SMA line, it gets rejected. It doesn't last for a very long period of time, and they normally look like pumps. It gets pushed, promoted, and then it pulls back, and it continues to descend. Look at the RSI, look at the MACD. It's all showing signs of it being overextended, not a good deal. And again, something that's showing characteristics of continuously being bearish. It's just something that gives me an indication that this is potentially not something, it just comes at too high of a risk for me. That's just my taste, right? If you think that for whatever reason this thing's going to continue to uptrend, then set up a plan, but just make sure that you have some form of proper risk management in place, taking that into consideration. So here we go. Rick Wanders, what's going on, my dude? So VNET, nice to see you here. Hope all is well. VNET, staying busy, I see. If you guys haven't checked out Rick Wanders, he's part of our Learn Plan Profit Group, but actually he has his own YouTube channel as well. And yeah, feel free to check him out on that. So not much further, same to you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for stopping by again. VNET. So I like that this overall has been mainly bullish, right? One of the things that we do have to take into consideration right now is, although the MACD and the RSI are indicating signs of this thing being oversold, it's not showing any indication of an uptrend, right? It's kind of like when you buy the dip of something that is still selling off. It never showed any indication of a reversal. And trust me, we've all experienced that, where maybe we buy a little bit too early and it just continues to sell off, but we hope that it reverses. To keep things super simple, at least for myself, is instead of hoping something recovers, why not let's just set our alerts, wait and follow up with it. And once they get triggered, and if it does show us indication of an overall reversal, we can revisit this and at least take part of VNet when it's actually increasing in value. I think that's a great way to try to avoid, the overall idea of buying the dip especially when things are so uncertain, right? So we can set alerts on both sides, and I'm also going to set an alert over here. I want to take into consideration what the upside is based off of current price points right now and overall highs. It's about 20%. I like that, but we also need to take into consideration that it has pulled back more, and that downside is definitely, something that we have to take into consideration. So let's just make sure that we stay selective and we set our alerts and follow up with it when it meets our criteria, right? So I like to keep things pretty simple. For sure, dude. Looks interesting. Of course. Thank you again for stopping on in. Here we go. So we got Christopher with ticker symbol BBY. So I'm going to break down about 2 to 3 more stocks after this, and then we can call it a day, and you guys can go back to doing whatever it is that you guys were doing on this fine Sunday. So hopefully you guys are staying productive. But yeah, I like this. So a really strong push after earnings, hit overall highs of almost $90, aggressively pulled back. So I really like the stocks that you guys have been calling out. A lot of you guys are focusing on stocks that have been bullish, but are recently pulling back. So I like that, but this is the time that, the stock market is not an easy market to be successful in. Let me rephrase that. The stock market is not an easy market to be successful in consistently. Anyone can make money doing anything. That you should get that through your head. Anyone can make money in crypto. Anyone can make money in Forex. Anyone can make money in options, day trading. You can make money off of anything. But do you have a set list of best practices that you follow, that meet your criteria, that you can make money consistently? The reason that I enjoy the stock market so much is because I find it to be challenging, but it's the very simple things in life that people tend to overcomplicate. So I do agree. Best Buy did recently pull back. Looking at the RSI, looking at the MACD, it is showing signs of it being a little bit more on the oversold side, especially after it showing signs of it being bullish. Now, the overall upside looks promising, taking that into consideration that it can continue to pull back. So like you saw, I set my alert for the break above this EMA line. So instead of me trying to buy the dip and hope that it begins to recover, I'm just going to wait for confirmation. And although I might not be able to take part of, this little push up of 4%, I can at least take advantage of opportunities that make sense to me and that meet my criteria. And what that means is by you being more selective and focusing on quality trades, it empowers you to say no to opportunities that have not yet confirmed an overall reversal, which could potentially save you a lot of money in big picture. Obviously, you might miss some from time to time, but at the end of the day, your goal should not be, at least in my eyes, to try to focus on all these missed opportunities, but to take advantage of opportunities that simply make sense to you with structure and that meet your own criteria. So I like that. But overall upside looks like it's about 8 to 9% in comparison to if you do wait for confirmation. You can at least do a better job managing your risk if it then begins to pull back and break below the EMA line. So I like how we're keeping things simple. So thank you so much for being such a resourceful and helpful person. You've established information on the solid plan that has allowed me to create. Oh, I appreciate that, Crescent. Thank you. Well, again, I'm simply here to share ideas, right? One of the things that we love to remind our traders is that you are the final person, right? Like your actions are what either make you or break you. We're here to share ideas, and it is your job to cherry pick the ideas that you find effective. You expand on them, and you build your own foundation of values that you can build off of. Again, the goal should never be to copy what anyone does, not copy what I do, not copy what Warren Buffett does. It's at the end of the day, you want to have an understanding of what it is that you're doing. And by having an understanding, you can either make a profit, or even if you do make mistakes, right, you can at least learn from it rather than being told what to do. And I think that those are both positive takeaways. So I appreciate your time, and let's be honest, right? Preston, it probably wasn't easy to get to the point where you were, but it's the difficult things in life and the challenging things in life that are worth fighting for. And I'm really happy to hear that you've been doing well. So here we go. That is my girlfriend's alarm. So what's going on, Fernando? So we got ACB. So here we go. ACB. So this is Aurora. So it went through a reverse stock split, and that's why it's trading like this. I would personally I've said it from the very beginning, and even when Aurora was like being pumped like never before, there was a time that this thing was Well, it messes up because of like how it does the reverse stock split. But during this time period, everyone was all for Aurora, and now it's again just not performing well. Now it's more on the overbought side. It had to go through a reverse stock split because it was trading below $10 and it was approaching $5. I think it's all BS. You know, it's overbought, overextended. I think it's just bound to continue to drop. I hope that you're right and that it continues to uptrend. It just patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't always have to. I agree on that, but it's been so bearish. So because of that, I would rather wait for this thing to meet my criteria, and Aurora has a lot to prove. This thing is very overbought. It's bound to pull back, and it wouldn't be much of a surprise if I see it begin to trade, below $10 once again. So I'm going to break down about two more, and then we should be able to call it a live stream. So we got Joseph with ticker symbol ZM, which should be Zoom, right? Ticker symbol Zoom. I like this. So one of the things that at least I have to take into consideration for my criteria is I love that you're focusing on overall direction. Zoom has been bullish. I like that. Right? And you're focusing on something that, again, is trading above the overall SMA line. So there's a series of criteria that we share. But one of the things that I always take into consideration is the risk to reward ratio. We call them golden ratios if you're part of Learn Plan Profit, right? Making sure that your upside margin outweighs your downside risk. And with this, although it meets the bullish side, although it means that, hey, it has been consistent, it just doesn't, the upside potential based off of previous highs, so based off of where it's trading at right now, and the upside potential, which is about 5%, in comparison to the downside, which is about 15%, again, the reward does not offset the risk. And because of that, I would rather be someone that sets my alert, follows up with it when it takes a dip, and when it begins to consolidate and then breaks above the EMA line, I can then at least take part of something that is bullish, that is consistent, and that also the upside margin outweighs the downside. Do you kind of get what I mean? So I'm going to set my alert for the break above 180, as anything can happen. I do agree, especially as it's approaching earnings. So maybe that's what you're looking forward to. I just also personally do not like holding during earnings, just like I don't like holding during like the natural gas report. I just don't like there to be some form of catalyst that can drive the price up and down. I don't like that coin flip approach. I would rather be someone that could manage my risk and re-enter something, which means that I just have to be a little bit more patient. But I really do appreciate this call out. I'm just going to set my alerts, and I'm going to follow up with it more when it's a better deal, right? But best of luck to you. So let's go ahead and what's going on, B? So Jared, what's going on, my dude? So UNG. Alrighty. Overall, so this is the natural gas fund. Very consistently, it's very consistent in overall selling off. It looks like it's showing a very similar pattern to overall patterns of natural gas. And if anything, I don't know if you're paying attention to /NG right now, but it's not looking very good. So I do agree that it is. So first of all, UNG and natural gas is not something that I would recommend for any beginner traders, right? It does come at a greater form of risk. I guess UNG doesn't, because it's not as aggressive when it comes down to moving, but overall UNG is bearish. Natural gas is bearish, and trading against overall direction is not something that we'd ever encourage for beginners, right? Jared, I know that you're not necessarily a beginner, and although you might be able to buy the dip and hope to sell it for a profit, what I want to share with you is right now /NG is down 1%. So again, this doesn't mean anything because the market's closed tomorrow, and it, I guess, really doesn't matter until the market's open and whatever the future is at that point. But as of right now, natural gas is selling off. It looks like it's pulling back once again. It can drop right back down to 160. And if we see natural gas sell off, it would only make sense that UNG is most likely going to follow as well. So let's just make sure we take that into consideration before trying to buy the dip, of course, right? But I like it. I like that you're focusing on getting something for a good deal. We just need to take into consideration that it's still selling off, right? Here it goes. All right. Actually, if it's okay with you guys, you're great, man. Have a good day. Woo. What's going on, Ryan? So I actually wanted to talk about, I know I made a video about it, but I wanted to talk about, people had a couple questions about Hertz. I think it's ticker symbol HTZ. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me. If you guys didn't watch that video that I uploaded, I think 2 days ago, all I talked about was that Hertz filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Obviously, that's good news, but that shouldn't come as a surprise, as 2 to 4 weeks ago, they announced that they were hiring preparation lawyers to file for bankruptcy. So this shouldn't come as a surprise. This is something that we've talked about over and over again, especially with an industry as the car rental industry that has been had such a negative impact due to the overall pandemic and the coronavirus. So overall, it's very bearish because it went through the Chapter 11 approach. They're pretty much going to restructure and try to make a comeback and become profitable once again. So they are making an effort to come back, but it doesn't mean that they're going to succeed. So just know that it doesn't mean that it's going to fail 100%, but it's going to be a very difficult journey. But again, difficult doesn't mean impossible. Altogether, I would just personally stay away from Hertz as of right now, as things can only get worse, especially since the overall news for it filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy is so new. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think, and then we can simply follow up with it then. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to keep this overall Sunday stock talk pretty short and sweet and kind of straight to the point, and I hope that you guys appreciate that. And if you guys learned something new, maybe you guys added a couple of these stocks to your watch list, I really hope that we earned your thumbs up, as you know, it greatly does help out our channel. So can you please explain what the green and blue lines represent and how they are calculated, or direct me to a video that does? So what's going on, Matthew Dietrich? Did I pronounce that correctly? So it looks like you have a baseball picture, but yeah, so you must be new to the channel. The green line is called SMA line, so it's right here. It's the simple moving average, so you can write that down and you can use YouTube search it. I have a video on it. And the blue line is called EMA line, or moving average exponential is how it's set up on TD Ameritrade, or exponential moving average. And again, you can search that up on YouTube, as I do have a video. One of the things that I do want to remind you is I have a specific way that I explain things, so I wouldn't even just stop with my videos. There's a lot of very talented people on YouTube that you can learn from as well. Please feel free to check out their videos as well, and not just mine. And just all we ever want to ask you is to work with people that empower you. It's not people that have to try to convince you that they're better than others. It's, at the end of the day, our goals as YouTubers are to simply work with people that see value in us and that feel welcomed and empowered, right? And at the end of the day, that's what we want to do here at TechBud Solutions and Learn Plan Profit. So also, again, just a way that we can end this video is, if you guys would like to stay connected, please make sure that you guys can refresh your page. It's the first link down below, and it's our free Facebook group. It's absolutely for free. We're the largest Facebook group in the world for those who day trade in the stock market, with over 274,000 members. So Billy the Kid, thanks. LPP team, one on a green note. What's going on, man? So yeah, I really do appreciate you guys' time. I wish you guys an absolute amazing rest of your Sunday. I wasn't too sure if I was going to extend any sell for Memorial Day. You guys know that we offer Learn Plan Profit. Learn Plan Profit's the only group that I work with on a closer basis. But you know, if you're interested, one thing that you can do is, if you're part of TechBud Solutions or you have me on Instagram, you can just send me a message and be like, hey Ricky, can I get a discount for Memorial Day? I'm not too sure if we're going to run a sale. If you want to learn more about Learn Plan Profit, it's the second link down below. But yeah, just send me a direct message. Send me a direct message, and that's really just it. So altogether, I appreciate and can't thank you guys enough for taking time out of your Sunday to tune on in to our Sunday Stock Talk. In observance to Memorial Day tomorrow, the stock market is closed. So thank you to all those that have served. And I appreciate everything that is that you guys do. So we will see you, if you're part of Learn Plan Profit, we will see you at Market Open on Tuesday for our live trading session. And if you're not part of Learn Plan Profit, then send me a message and maybe we can hook you up with a discount. But yeah, really do appreciate you guys' time. Hope and wish you guys an amazing rest of your day. I really hope that we earned your thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Like always, team, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy.